Good morning, guys. It's Chris from daxtrader.co.uk. It is Wednesday, the 7th of February 2018. This is the Dax Technical Analysis summary video. So we've got in front of us here the DAX TPO, the daily chart showing the market profiles for each individual day. And a lot of blue lines you can see on here now. Just to explain, those blue lines to the left of the profile charts would be previously untouched points of control, and a point of control is generally the highest volume area during the day. It's normally the highest volume of the value area, and they can be quite magnetic. So when price shoots in one direction or another, it leaves behind untouched pockets, like you can see on the right hand side of these profiles here above us. These were previous ones from probably sort of September, October, November during the rally. And you'll notice that yesterday and Monday, we pretty much tagged all of the remaining untouched pockets, and that was where price reacted. So I found that very, very interesting. And it leaves us in a position to take a decision one way or the other for which direction the price will move from here. So that is the first thing that we were looking at today. Next thing we looked onto was to find out, well, if we do get a bounce from that level, and that was the end of our move, we've kind of retraced, 1,518 points, which is sort of 11% or so from the all-time high at 13.6. We marked out a couple of different areas here that price could respond and react to. The lowest level was pretty much a reaction to the point of ignition from the collapse below that low on Monday. So we tagged that area late last night, and we've gapped lower by about 114 points this morning. So part of us is wondering now whether we're going to go and test this little consolidation low, or even get a test and a bait of these major lows. But for today, targeting probably staying within the average true range, which we'll come to in just a moment. And the levels above that were similar ignition points, but it's possibly unlikely that we'll get those today. I found an interesting chart here on the daily. I think I looked at this in an article previously during the week. And just to talk you through that, I've got an A to B line that was sent straight through here, which cut through that gap, which I found really interesting. I also drew a center line through the lows, where this would have been the expanding pivot that we've been drawing over the last sort of few weeks. And again, that also cuts through this gap. And if you take a 50% line through the gap from the high, it would provide us with a kind of an extension target if this continues to the downside at 11,750. So if this was only kind of half of the move to the downside, then that would be a rough idea of where it would finish up. And then also kind of ties in nicely with this action center reaction line. That being the center line, action being up here, and opposite and equal reaction being down here. It kind of ties in nicely with that extension line as well. So the idea to the downside would be that as a target. The idea to the upside would be a retracement back into one of those ignition points that we looked at on the 60-minute chart just a moment ago here. Okay. As far as the average true range, we're looking at about 230 points at the moment on the DAX. So if we just draw a box around the expected price range for today, somewhere between 12.3 and 12.7 would likely be the range. We'll possibly even just consolidate in a much more narrow range than that. But we'll continue to watch. We didn't manage to close the gap from this morning, and we've continued to break to lower lows. So if we stay below that, we can expect to find a mini trend towards that 12.3 line for today to test the bottom of that consolidation, as we said. And that was kind of mainly the conversation we had around the DAX for today. Possibly a slower day than we certainly had on Monday, but looking for a potential long from maybe lower levels if we do manage to find an entry. So that's brings us up to date. We have updated the premium spreadsheets with a few additional Outlook updates for what we ran through on Monday. Go and check those out. That's uploaded now. But otherwise, we'll be back on Friday with another webinar, and we'll continue with our programming as well. So take care. Hope you have a great trading week. Catch up with you on Friday.